I want to make a correction on the last reading. I was reading about the inert gases, and I read one of the words wrong. They aren't common elements, they are cosmic elements. Okay, that's corrected. As greater awareness of the light of the universal self comes to man, he gradually loses his individuality and becomes more than universal self. When mankind has become fully aware of God in him, the play of man on this planet is finished, his purpose fulfilled, and the individual man ceases to be. Man loses his expression of life in matter to find eternal life in the light. There is no death. Now, words from God, and this is pretty long. I think the book finishes out with these words. Know thou that divided lights which record my knowing are lights of suns and darkness born of suns. All imaged forms of my all-knowing are born from dark to light, and mirrored back to dark for endless borning into light. Within still centers of my suns is my all-knowing. The still light of my knowing lights of the still light of my knowing lights of my thinking interchange to manifest my knowing in moving forms of my imagining. Wherefore I scatter seed of my all-knowing throughout my kingdom as light of many suns, and children of those many suns, to father mother my all-knowing in moving forms of my imagining. And behold, each sun of my divided thinking fathers a whole universe of my imagining, giving light to its unfolding dark, to forever quicken dark by light. In this wise all quickened idea of me within heavens of earths and suns unfolds from dark wombs of earth to light of suns, to refold within tombs and wombs of earths for reborning unto heavens of earths and suns. In this wise is my desire to give fulfilled by equal taking of my giving for multiplied regiving. See thou that man well knoweth that I, the Father Mother of my universe, center all his givings and his regivings, and measure them with watchful eyes to balance them in me. Say thou to him that his moving is my moving, for without me he can in no wise move, even to manifest me in his moving. One last chapter, the universe of being, more of God. In my universe there is but one form from which all forms appear. That one form is the pulsing cube sphere, two halves of the heartbeat of my dual thinking. All forms pulse, therefore all forms are two, one form for the in-breathing pulse, which generates, and one for the out-breathing radiation one. The cube is the sphere expanded by the outward breath to black rest in cold space, and the sphere is the cube compressed to the incandescence of white-hot suns by the inward breath. All spheres emerge from the pulsing, breathing cubes of space, and return to them to find fulcrums of rest for re-emergence. Behold, I center one form where it seeks rest in me from the action of my thinking, and I envelop that form with its other half, where it may again find rest in me as another fulcrum for expression of my thinking. These two sexed halves extend from me and return to me, but they are not me, nor are they two halves of one, for they never can be two halves of one. They are always two, and never one. Nor can they unite, nor meet, for their ways are opposed ways, which never meet, for each one voideth each in their seeming meeting. Behold, I am within all things, centering them, and I am without all things, controlling them, but I am not those things which I center and control. See thou that man knows that each divided light of his conditioning, which extends from me to him, is balanced always, for I am balance, and that is truth and the law, for I am truth and the law. Say thou to him, Each thing is everything, and each is everywhere. For I say that all things are the same thing, for all things are universal. Each thing reaches through every other thing to the furthermost star. For this purpose have I set my mirrors and my lenses of dual light to attain an infinity of my imaged universe, in which no measure is. And I also say that man's infinity ends in eyes of man where it began. All things in my mirrored universe end where they began. Eternity thus ends in now, and now in eternity. See thou that man well knows the illusions which deceive his sense seeing. Point out to him my mirrors and my lenses which curve my universe of seeming two image spheres of my thinking as seed for multiplying one into many ones. Say thou to him, all things occupy the same space, and each thing occupies all space. All things extend from all things, and are extensions of all things. Likewise I say, all things center all things, and are involved in all things. Say thou these words in words of man's knowing, and say thou that I, the light, center him and all things else, for I am everywhere. Another part of the Divine Iliad where God speaks, again I say that all things extend to all things, for all things and through all things, from all things and through all things. For to thee I again say all things are light, and light separates not, nor has it bounds, nor is it here and not there. Man may weave the pattern of his self in light of me, and of his image in divided lights of me, even as the sun sets up its bow of many hues from divided light of me. But man cannot be apart from me, as the spectrum cannot be apart from light of me. And as the rainbow is a light within the light, inseparable, so is man's self within me, inseparable, and so is his image my image. Verily I say, every wave encompasses every other wave into the one, and the many are within the one, even down to the least of waves of me. And I say further, that everything is repeated within every other thing unto the one. And furthermore I say, that every element which man thinketh of as of itself alone is within every other element, even to the atom's various unit. When man queries thee in this wise, sayest thou that in this iron there is gold and all things else? Thou mayest answer, within the sphere and encompassing it is the cube and every other form that is, and within the cube and encompassing it is the sphere and every other form that is. Now in this book, The Secret of Light, the last few pages are diagrams and illustrations. You might want to get this book. It's a very good book. Might be hard to find, but it's well worth finding. And this concludes The Secret of Light. And I was happy to read it. I hope people will enjoy listening to it. And if you feel like it, send me a comment or something under one of the 29 episodes here. Oh. One thing more I would like to say is that I have typed this entire book, minus the illustrations, into a file. I also have typed the Divine Iliad 1 and the Divine Iliad 2, and these are very easy for me to send to anyone. If I have their email address, I send it as a file. So if anyone would like that, please in some way get me your email address, and I will send you this to read. Okay, over and out. Bye-bye.